So we all know that the XRP Ripple SEC lawsuit has come to a close, or at least we're told that. But I want to talk to you in this video about the first comments that we're hearing from the former SEC chair, Gary Gensler himself, after being outed. We're going to discuss kind of his thoughts on tariff policy, crypto, and how this is going to affect us as XRP holders. I'm going to get to the bottom of that towards the end of this video. So appreciate you all stopping by. Thanks for giving me a couple minutes of your time. If you all are new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you hold XRP, make sure you all have that thumbs up in this video. Let YouTube know that you like hearing about XRP, and let's get right down into it, okay? Always remember, though, none of this is financial advice. Always be sure to do your own research and due diligence. And you can see kind of the kind of headlines on X are starting to surmount as we look in kind of the headlines across the board about Gensler speaking. And I still don't understand why he has a microphone to stand behind. But as we look into it, guys, the first time he's speaking after stepping down, assessing the U.S. economy and the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. I'm going to share with you guys those thoughts very quickly. Before we get into it, though, if you have not done so, make sure that you are following on X at TCryptoMark. I do post my videos and a lot of content as well as graphics and stuff that's very informative from time to time. So make sure you follow me on that platform, okay? And this is what we're going to get into, okay? You can see kind of the big headline of the day as you see Gensler in a nice little graphic with the X and the chart going up. I know the XRP price right now, as we look at it, is not going up. As we turn into kind of what we're seeing on the day, it's been kind of a mixed reaction, down 1.5%. We have shifted into the red, and there were moments of today's performance that we did see some green movement, but not in a way that was anything moving. I think right now Bitcoin's still around 85, and we do have Ethereum trading around 1600. But it has been more of a green day today across the board than we saw yesterday with all of the other alts and memes. But let's talk XRP, $2.09 on the chart. What exactly is going down? Let's get into these comments as we look into the former SEC chair, Gary Gensler, speaking. So we will kind of turn our attention to these comments right now. And then after this, I will give you my thoughts and my reaction to what he had to say, okay? So this was the first time since leaving office, and let me preface this by saying, with all the kind of, I don't want to say hate's a very strong word, but the disdain, okay, the disdain around Gary Gensler, the public comments from Trump revoking the protection, I guess you would say, within kind of having the Secret Service, I believe, or just the United States government essentially funding his kind of bodyguards, his protection. I don't think it was actually the Secret Service. If I'm wrong, let me know down below in the comments. But I don't want anything to happen to the guy. I mean, whatever you feel ill will against kind of him, Fauci, even kind of Jerome Powell for that matter. These are just Americans, right? They're normal everyday people. They have high positions of influence, of matter, and we're not perfect, okay? So let's just kind of take his comments with stride. We'll analyze them. But as we all kind of like to joke and, we say things on the internet, on social media and stuff, let's just move on and put the past behind us. And hopefully on the other side, we come out ahead now with Paul Abbott at the helm, okay? But this is where we get into the comments, okay, talking about the tariff policy. Now, this was very, very kind of interesting, okay? The sweeping tariffs that are going across the globe that Trump is initiating. Gensler calls them self-inflicted wounds and warning that a confrontational approach could destabilize markets and harm long-term diplomatic efforts. Well, that's 100% correct, but that's kind of the goal of it, right? He wants to destabilize in an effort to restabilize with the way he wants things done, okay? Now, these comments came as Rick Scott, the Florida senator, pushing the SEC to delist Chinese companies from U.S. exchanges, citing national security concerns. That would definitely have some destabilization across the board. Gensler addressed the geopolitical and economic implications of escalating trade tensions, okay? And I will go full screen for this for a minute, because I will tell you that the common theme I've got since I've started following this very closely, Gensler, Powell, Fauci, very conservative, okay? Whether or not they're being influenced or whatever, they did not really take chances. But when it came time to take a chance where it had an immediate impact in a negative direction, okay? So you could talk basically interest rates, you could talk about commodities, securities, you could talk vaccines. With COVID, everything has an application into kind of the role that they were in charge of. And they were not so much, I don't want to say risky, but it was something where they added a lot of volatility. So it is kind of very much contradicting what his comments were, because the direct actions that he did take did exactly what he's warning against, okay? So this is kind of where we look at it as we're ushering in a new guard. The first public interview, okay, we're going to read some of these quotes real briefly, okay, so bear with me. To implement an all-encompassing strategy, try to do it with 150 to 200 countries and do it this aggressively and convulsively all at once. It's like scoring an own goal, injuring yourself, okay? Said that past negotiations with China have been difficult, talking about kind of the policies within financial regulators with China and how that's emboldened China to delay engagement, believing that the time is simply on its side, okay? Also highlighting some of the broader market impact of the Trump policy uncertainty, real instability for businesses, investment decisions, companies are pulling back, and there's increasing instability in the equity in U.S. bond markets. Kind of the point of it, right? So anyways, as we digress and get further deeper into this, the importance was stressed by Gensler, working with allies, but questioning the feasibility of rapid, comprehensive global negotiations. Trying to renegotiate with dozens of countries in 90 days is a tall order. In the meantime, China is watching closely. This was a very encompassing interview, touched on the future of crypto and AI, not going into great detail, but acknowledging both sectors will play an increasing vital role in shaping the future of markets and regulation. Okay, so there you have it. That is the broad spectrum of the comments Gensler made. So talking a lot about kind of the rapid changing of policy within Trump in China and global nations and within tariffs. Talked a little bit about the investments and business negotiations within kind of what's going on in 90 days. Also touching on cryptocurrency and AI, stating that and I thought it was kind of important that he acknowledged that both sectors will play an increasing vital role. Now, that's kind of where I want to touch and go back to not recent comments, but comments in the past, right? And I talked a lot about them in my channel, and Gary Gensler and Algorand, for one. There's a lot of cryptos that he did kind of hold. He was very much into crypto, but it makes you wonder, and it poses a question: was he being held against the fire? Okay, that's kind of my question. Was he the scapegoat? Were these instruments, these chairs of these huge financial organizations and organizations with huge impacts and influence, were these heads of these entities essentially held to do their post in a way that maybe they didn't believe in? Maybe it was a way that they were forced to. Nobody will really ever know that, okay? And that is something where I think that maybe one day somebody will write a book on it. But as it relates to what all we have going on, I think it's very clear that crypto is on the rise, okay? And it's not just Gensler in this more pro acknowledgement, but it's more so Paul Abbott coming in. There's a reason why they're bringing Paul Abbott in. There's a reason why Gensler's out. There's a reason why Jerome Powell's on the hot seat and Trump is pressuring him to lower interest rates. There's a reason why we're trying to renegotiate tariffs and trade policy with all of these countries, including China. And that's kind of where you look at kind of the future and how this all dates back and kind of segues into the crypto discussion. You have to ask yourself the question, in 3 to 5 years from now, do you see crypto being in a better spot? For me, the answer to that is yes. Does that mean that I'm investing any more or less than I have been since I started getting into crypto? The answer to that question is no. I'm sticking to my plan, my goals, my strategies, and I'm not really deviating, although I am probably in a weird way less invested right now than I have ever been due to the fact that we have a lot of volatility. Usually with volatility, I end up buying more on volatility, but it's something where we look into kind of where this is going to play out. Nobody really knows. So I am taking a more wait on the sideline approach for kind of waiting to see how the markets tip, when we tip our hand to which way we're going to go. I think that right now there's a lot of blood in the water. I think that it continues to be murky for quite some time until at least 90 days. And I really think that the tariff timeline is going to be the forefront of that discussion. And until we get out from under that rock and we're able to run the way we were running in the early part of 2025 and the late part of 2024, I just really think that crypto has no certainty. And that's kind of just where I'm at. So to put it bluntly, I'm stabled up in a lot of crypto. I'm staying on the sidelines. I'm not believing in those cryptos. I'm begging for the opportunity to get back. I want to become a holder in a lot more crypto than I am right now. Truthfully, it's just something right now in this current moment in time. It's so volatile that if we go down another 10, 15%, I'm not trying to time the markets, but I'm trying to be smart about re-entering in a lot of positions. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's something where I'm going to tell you guys time and time again, I will never tell you to buy or sell a crypto. This is not financial advice. You have to do what's best for you and your financial situation. I'm just illustrating my thoughts, my opinions as it relates to the market and what I'm doing with my own strategy. And that's kind of what I'm going to leave you with. So appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk about some of the comments within Gary Gensler and kind of what we are seeing as he has spoken for the first time since essentially being outed as the chair of the SEC. So we all know how that impacted the XRP price. And, truth be told, guys, we are at a point where you would expect it a little bit more of a price surge that we've gotten from XRP. So it does pose a question. Are we done yet? Are we on the downtrend? Will this just be a resumption of, the upward trajectory and the momentum that we had prior to kind of all this tariff discussion? Nobody really knows that. Time will tell. Okay. And let's just stay vigilant, stay up to date with what's going on in the news, and leave me a comment down below. What do you think is most impacting the price of XRP as it relates to what we have going on in the more of the macro discussions that we just had right now in this video? So I'll leave you with that. Before you exit, make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out my links down below if you want to get involved with any of the exchanges I'm partnered with. And we'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers.